Education is the single best investment.
But a new book, The Case Against Education, says this college push is a big mistake.
How many thousands of hours did you spend in classes studying subjects that you never thought about again?
Economist Brian Kaplan says most people who go to college shouldn't. I learned little in college. I like my friends and illegal drinking, but I slept through lectures. At least tuition then was $2,000. Now it's almost $50,000.
People usually just want to talk about the tuition, which is a big deal, but there's also all the years that people spend in school when they could have been doing something else. If you just take a look at the faces of the students, it's obvious that they're bored, and people are there primarily in order to get a good job.
Because the diploma is a signaling device for people with
no more brains than you have, but they have one thing you haven't got, a diploma.
The con man, who was the Wizard of Oz, hinted at the problem years ago.
Doctor of Thinkology.
Why'd you write this book? The Wizard of Oz already made the argument.
But almost no one seems to believe it.
College graduation has never been more valuable than it is today.
What's going on, everyone? It's Dr. Quinn here today, and the inconvenient truth about college is that it's a business now. It's not meant to be educating people. It's not meant to pour into you skills that you need to perform in the job place, right? And it seems like to me that a lot of people who go to college without thinking through or having a plan of attaining an ends to that goal tends to accumulate a lot of debt and seems to be in financial hardship, right? And it's because, think about it. The government is subsidizing essentially college to raise its prices. As John Stolzer said in the beginning of the intro, that it only cost him $2,000 when he went to college. Now we're paying 25 times more than that. And why? A part of it is because of the involvement of the federal government. Like Ronald Reagan said, the worst thing the government can say is, I'm here to help. Because this is what happens. You drive the government drives an incentive structure that doesn't actually increase the quality of education that people receive. How my generation, the millennials and Gen Z, are paying 25 times more for college than people in I would say 50 years ago. But our quality of education is actually going downward, especially with all the wokeism that's going on in schools. Our teachers are heavily political, right? There was a 13-to-1 ratio between a conservative and liberal. The liberals, for every one conservative, there's 13 liberal teachers. Bro, universities are overwhelmingly liberal, democratic. And you wonder why all these young people come out with these views, right? And I think if conservatives are serious, I think one of the biggest battlegrounds, the most important battlegrounds in the culture war is the education and institutions, the educational institutions. Because if we allow these universities to stay the way they are, having all these wacky theories, and it goes unchallenged, then hey, we begging to get what we get. But hey, I digress. We're going to continue and talk about, I already kind of bashed the government already, but we're going to talk about this is why the government is called the unnatural monopoly, right? Because this is what government drives inefficiency. In the next clip here, we're going to talk about government subsidies and how the money that we invested, because I hear a lot of progressives when I rail against college talking about how Reagan cut college funding and this is hurting colleges. But look at the money that we are spending in college and look where it's going to. Let's take a look.
Meaning taxpayers must pay for it. All the politicians say, go to college. And there is evidence. The higher you go, the more money you make.
It's totally true that when people go and get more and better and fancier degrees, that their income generally goes up. But the reason why this is happening is not really that college is pouring tons of job skills into you. The reason is that it's impressive.
You aren't saying you, individual, don't go to college. You're saying we as a country are suckers to push it and subsidize it.
Exactly. Just because it is lucrative for an individual doesn't mean that it's a good idea for a country.
Because when most everyone goes to college, that just raises the bar.
Imagine that you're at a concert, everyone is sitting down, and you want to see better. What can you do? Well, you can stand up. All right, and of course, then you'll see better. Now, it does not follow, though, that if everyone stands up, everyone sees better.
You just block each other's views. The same thing has happened in education, says Kaplan. As more people got degrees, more employers insisted on degrees.
And this is how you get the term degree inflation. A job that didn't require a degree 25 years ago now requires a degree. You need a degree to be an executive assistant when most people be like, yo, a high school kid can do a secretary's job. I'm just saying. With some training, a little weeks of training, boom, you could be an executive assistant. But now you need a degree for that, right? It's because of this degree inflation, right? I remember before people were able to be bankers without a college degree. Now you have to get an economics degree. You got to get all this gatekeeping. And this is the inconvenient truth about college. College is just a form of credentialism, right? I'll probably put the prompt up in front of me. But credentialism is this idea that, hey, you need an authority figure to vouch for your skills and status. And that's what he's talking about here. People are not paying to go to college to actually gain skills, right? They go there to get a credential. Say, hey, look, I have proof that I'm good. I got the approval of the people you care about, corporations. Please hire me. And in 2023, getting a college degree doesn't guarantee you a higher salary. Experience is more value than education, especially when y'all go into these corporations. And I speak from firsthand experience. I work in a corporation. Just because you have a college degree doesn't mean you're job ready. People still have to train you. And there's extra costs associated with hiring people with college degrees because they're like, yo, I have to pay him more because they're going to feel entitled to a higher income because they got a college degree, but they don't have the tangible skills to actually be work ready immediately. They still require intensive training to actually do the job. So what the hell college is doing there? It's just a glorified 4-year vacation to do whatever the kids want and to somewhat regurgitate information. And this is what I think was driving down the quality of education and performance in our country today, the education system, because the college system is a business now. College systems change their incentive because of the government. I'm blaming the government for this. You change the incentive structure where the colleges are worried more about how many people we can admit into our college rather than what kind of quality we're giving the individuals, right? There's a stat I just recently read from, and this is a book I'm going to be recommending for this stream. It's called The College Scam. Charlie Kirk does a good job articulating exactly like 10 counts against why you shouldn't go to college, right? He talks about wokeism. He talks about the cost of college. He talks about the student loan debt crisis that's going on, that we're paying so much money for an education that is subpar. I'm just being honest. As a college dropout, you guys can say I'm being biased with my takes here, but I'm just giving you some of the reasons why I dropped out of college, because I got job skills already for the job I was working at. And I was like, why I need a 4-year degree if I already got the job? Because essentially that's what the 4-year degree is for. It's not to give you a higher income. It's not to get you a higher pay. It's just to make you look, it just makes you more appealing for someone to hire you. And if you already got the job experience, AKA you do internships, you change that into a full-time job. That's what I did. That's how I circumvent the college system. Right? I was like, I went to university. I saw, this stuff is nonsense. Dropped out because of the whole wokeism. I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it anymore. And after working 8 hours a day and then I had to go to college, I was like, I'm over it. And I was able to still succeed despite college. Now, I do have a 2-year degree, but to me, the college didn't really help me because I learned all my stuff by myself. Because I'm a computer science major. So I had to learn most of the time. And this is the unspoken truth of like a lot of computer science students won't admit. But a lot of times you're teaching yourself a lot of these things. The teacher's only really guiding you or just giving you assignments. But hey, I digress. Let's check out this next clip where Stalster continues to dive in and really hammers home the point that college is not what it's advertising itself to be, right? And this is why one of the inconvenient truths is that people have to treat that, hey, college is a business. And you have to look at it that way. Like when you go and buy a product, you have to be skeptical of the product. You have to actually do your research on the product, review the product. But what colleges are focusing on now, they're focusing on amenities, not functionality. For me, to me, the college degree was a means to an end. And in the minute I found another means to get my end, I said, forget about college. And I think this is how we should start treating college moving forward. But I digress. Let's check out the clip and then I'll give my thoughts as usual. Let's take a look.
The result isn't that graduates get better jobs. It's that employers require degrees for most every job.
There are so many jobs where it used to be crazy to think that you would need a college degree, like to be a waiter in a fancy restaurant, where now it would be very normal.
Of course, a college education's about more than getting a job. It's also about learning. But Kaplan says if students really wanted to learn, they would just do it.
If you want to go to Princeton, you don't have to apply. Just move to the town and start attending classes.
Nobody does that.
In people's bones, they realize that what really counts is that diploma.
Today, that's a taxpayer-subsidized diploma. And when you subsidize something, you get more of it. More students apply to college, so schools raise tuition. Tuition cost has risen at triple the rate of inflation. Schools use that money to attract more students and more tax money. Many compete by advertising luxury. They promote things like lobster dinners, fancy pools.
Students will come to us and say, this is what sealed the deal. It used to be reading, writing, and arithmetic. And well, we're now the fourth R, recreation. 600
colleges now have rock walls.
Give our Tigers spring break every time they step in to the student recreation complex.
What you focus on is what you get. And you get a lot of students that, oh, I'm gonna get a music degree, right? And this is how, to me, I'll like, my argument here will be 80% of college degrees are useless in college. I'm being dead serious. Now, a lot of the 20% of college degrees that are useful are in the STEM field. I'll say a majority of them are in the STEM field. And this is the craziness, they come here. You don't go to college for, oh, this is going to help me gain valuable skills. This is the best school for teaching the industry that I want to be a part of. No, you go to school for the parties, the girls, the amenities. You don't go for educational reasons when you pick a college. Most of the time you pick a college because, hey, I want to be away from my parents. Hey, I want to be on my own. Hey, I want to take part in the party scene or having my fun, because that's how college is advertised. Even in Hollywood, that's how it's advertised. And they put this idea that, hey, college is a rite of passage, instead of seeing college as, hey, college is a means to end. Do I need college or do I not need college? And this is why a lot of men are not going to college. And people and college admissions are realizing this, because end of the day, they're a business. They want more admissions. And if they realize it's an untapped market out there for college education, aka men, they're gonna have to try to start marketing towards men, but they can't do that because of feminism. Feminism will come out and say, oh no, you're trying to bring in the patriarchy, because end of the day, women are seen as a victim group, and you can't message against the victim group, right? Because technically, by the standards of DEI, y'all should be doing affirmative action for men, because men are what I think today college graduates are overwhelmingly women, right? I'm being honest. Women have a majority of the student loan debt. Hey, you reap what you sow. And I think it's because men are more likely to take risk. And more men are, and this is one of the advice I give to men who don't want to go to college. Say, hey, go be an apprentice. Go do a blue collar job. Hey, go learn how to code. Hey, look at the tech industry. Look at this certifications. All you need is a certification, get you started on an entry level job, and then you work your way up. Focus on that. And men are getting better outcomes doing that with no student loan debt. And personally, that's kind of what I did. If you want to learn more about my personal career journey, maybe I'll make that a separate video. Let me know in the comment section if you're interested in that. But that's a path that I did. I went to a junior college, and before I graduated the junior college, because it's a two-year process, I took an internship at a corporation, and I turned that into a full-time job, and then I got job experience. I was like, yo, I'm relearning stuff in university that I'm already doing on the job while I'm still doing university. And then when I had my wife got pregnant with my son, I was like, I got to drop something because I got too many priorities. So I dropped college, and I haven't looked back since. And this is some of the decisions I think I encourage a lot of Americans to think about, that college isn't what it's marketed to be. And usually if someone wants you to do something, usually there's more benefit to them than you, unless you know why. So I'm just saying, make an informed decision when it comes to college. It's no longer cookie cutter advice where, oh, everyone must go to college. I think that's a big mistake a lot of people are doing. But hey, I digress. Let's further look into this. Pretty much, college is a vacation. Let's take a look at this clip, and then I'll tell you why. Let's take a look.
Taxpayers fund that spring break. We also fund years of study in subjects unlikely to help students get jobs, like social justice, gender studies, multicultural studies.
So if you're doing computer science or electrical engineering, then you probably are actually learning a bunch of useful skills. But every year we graduate about twice as many psychology bachelor's degrees as we do engineering bachelor's degrees.
Of course, there's value in learning psychology, philosophy, literature. Many employers say they want liberal arts graduates.
It's technology married with liberal arts, married with the humanities, that yields us the result that makes our hearts sing.
It makes us better, wiser people.
But you can't assume that works. How many years of people's lives should they be made to study stuff when the odds that they'll ever appreciate it are like 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000?
Maybe it makes our brains work better.
It's the kind of thing that you'd expect teachers to say, but there's a whole field of people who have actually studied this. Much as they want to believe that you're right, they generally come away after looking at a lot of evidence and saying, wow, actually, it's wishful thinking.
Although Kaplan calls college a scam, he says it's great for a few people. People like him.
I'm a tenured professor. Your audience may not realize how good of a gig this is, but a tenured professor cannot be fired for almost any reason. And you get a nice income and there are almost no demands upon your time.
You just have to teach 5 hours a week.
Well, there's people who consider that a horrible burden.
Wow. Hey, and this video was made 5 years ago. 5 years ago. And if you look at it now, everyone's like, yeah. Imagine this, if you're a student who went to college and you got 6 figures in student loan debt and you can't find employment because there's stats out there, according to a Federal Reserve of New York, only 27% of people who graduate actually work in the field they major in. Imagine that. That means what? 63%, almost 73% of people are wasting their time going to college when they are statistically less likely to work in the actual field that they're getting their degree in. Imagine that. Imagine that. You get 6 figures in debt. I think the average student loan debt is like 30K a year. No, sorry, 30K a year. A 30K. They leave college with $30,000 in debt. And you're 73% chance, you have a 73% chance of not working in the field that you majored in. And this is my argument for why I think 80% of degrees are not needed in college, but college want these degrees out there because they want to give people a reason to come to their college. Oh, we have a music degree. Oh, we have a dance degree. Oh, we have a degree in esports. When all these things is something you just do. You don't need, imagine going to class and learning how to dance. Like, come on. Some of this stuff is, you need practical skills to do this stuff. And that's why I like programming so much. You need practical skills, demonstrable skills. Business, why are you going to school for business for? Just go start one. Or learn from someone who has a business. Why am I learning from a teacher? If they were successful, they wouldn't be a teacher. And this is kind of the inefficiency that college is the inconvenient truth about college. And I'm speaking from personal experience. This is one of the reasons why I dropped out. I'm learning from a professor when I'm actually doing the job. Right? 45% of students show no significant improvement. And this is my biggest argument against affirmative action. When they we need affirmative action, we need to consider race and ethnicity in the admission process. I'm like, for what? For what reason? College doesn't improve your abilities to learn or make you smarter or anything like that. People who go to college are already high achievers. It's just college is seen as a credential or a signal to saying, hey, look, I'm a smart guy. Allegedly, I'm a smart guy. That's all college is for. College is not actually there to improve you. It's there to just give you a stamp of approval. So what purpose would it be to allow more minorities to go into college? And this is why minorities that get into college through an affirmative action admission have a higher likelihood of dropping out of college because they can't keep up with the work. Yale is not Yale because it makes people smarter. Yale is Yale because they only admit the smartest people in our country. They only admit the smartest people from high school. That's the only reason Yale and Harvard are the way they are. It's not like they make you, I increase you to 200 IQ points. No, you already have 200 IQ points and you just qualified. They say, oh yeah, he has it. And now they can just take a credit for your success. Oh, look, he went to Yale. Oh, wait, look, he went to Harvard. That's like me saying, oh, LeBron James is the best basketball player in the world because he got a degree in basketballology at Yale University. You're like, no, LeBron James was always that good. And that's my argument against college. College doesn't actually make you better. But hey, I digress. Let's take a look in the next clip.
Has declined to 62% in 2022 from 66.2% in 2019. That's just 3 years ago. As more young people opt for blue-collar jobs in a strong labor market, job growth in industries like leisure and hospitality, construction, manufacturing, and warehousing, which don't require college degrees, has outpaced overall job gains. The low unemployment rate for teenage workers reaching a 70-year low of 9.2% last month has led to significant pay increases. Hourly earnings for leisure and hospitality workers rose by nearly 30% from April 2019 to April 2023. Wages are also higher in industries with additional training requirements like apprenticeship. Factors contributing to the decline in college enrollments include the high cost of education, college closures, uncertain return on investment. That's a big one right there, Tom. Uncertain return on investment. And this is Wall Street Journal saying this.
Yeah, this is. I mean, I feel like I've been hammering on this point, but you have to evaluate college like a business and saying, hey, yeah, they got all these nice bells and whistles. Yeah, it seems fun, but is that something that I would pay 6 figures to go to debt for, and not get anything out of it? Right? I'm just saying there's a trade-off here, and people don't want to recognize that. They think college is all benefit, no drawbacks, and there's a lot of drawbacks with college now, especially in this new technological field that we're living in right now, that you don't even know if you're going to go into 6 figures in debt and then it gets replaced by AI. You don't know that, right? And this is why I always believe in this model, and I always find it funny. Don't let schooling get in the way of your education. This is why I'm a lifelong learner. Like, I read books like without help from a college, right? I think most people can think, oh, the average person reads 14 books a year, and most of the time I believe it's because they have to go to college. That's the only reason they read books. And this is why I'm a big proponent of being self-taught. That if you know how to read, you're forever free, is because you control what information you receive. No, you don't got no professor telling you, oh, you can't read this book because it doesn't have nothing to do with your class. They can easily make you conform to a certain worldview by cherry picking certain books. Hey, you must do an assignment on the Communist Manifesto and why you agree with it. Right? And you get enough of those liberal indoctrination, and eventually you're like, oh, I'm liberal, oh, I'm this, I'm that. Because you've been conditioned to believe those things. Right? And this is some of the inconvenient truths about college. I think as a conservative parent, I'm starting to sour more and more on college. Like my wife has this, me and her argue all the time because she graduated from college with her bachelor's degree. I didn't. So my kids are going to have a 2 different perspective. Daddy didn't go to college. Mommy did. And then we'll both give our case. And this is how I teach my kids. I'm not going to teach my kids what to think. I'm going to teach my kids how to think. Here, son, make an informed decision. This is the case against college. Your mom will make the case for college. You have to decide if it's good for you. And that's the kind of advice I'll give to anyone who's watching this video, because that's the inconvenient truth about college. It's no longer a general rule of thumb where, oh, we just go to college just to go to college. No, going to college and having a plan. If you go to college without a plan, you're setting yourself up for financial ruin. I'm just saying. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know you agree, disagree. Let me hear some of your thoughts in the comment section. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys found the video insightful. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on the next Inconvenient Truths. Peace.